This is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Season 4, Episode 22-iest edition of the Talon Mix. It's a Smallville recap podcast hosted by me, Brian, and of course, my pal, Zach. Zach, the entire East Coast is covered in smoke. The former U.S. president has been super double indicted, and we just wrapped up another season of a teen soap opera that we watched in college. How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I am here to celebrate the death of the Stones plotline. They might say the word Stones. Like, I'm guessing in season 5 premiere, there will be like some wrap-up conversation, maybe. But I think this is it. For the Stones.
Good riddance. It's like I'm disappointed in this episode. I texted you after I watched it that I believe the direct quote was, "It's a real wet fart of an episode." But also, I'll take it if it means we're done with this fucking Stone storyline.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I'm a little bit more positive on the episode than you are, but I think we're basically on the same page. It's really good, and then it just gets bogged down in Stone's territory for a huge chunk of it.
Right. I don't know. I think I was expecting more. I think I was expecting season 4 was some really high highs, some really low lows, and I was kind of hoping, like, even though I've seen it before, it's obviously been a very long time, I was kind of hoping there was some sort of end to this storyline that, you know what? All right, it was worth it because it got us here, and no.
Well, it got us to, spoiler alert, the Fortress of Solitude.
That is true, which we don't see in this episode.
No, we don't.
We see...
this episode has the what I would call the Arrested Development Season 4 effect, or the syndrome ailment, which this is a supersized episode. This was like an hour and 15 minutes instead of, or something like that, or they added 10 extra minutes here,
right?
And it doesn't feel like it. Oftentimes when they do that, it feels like they just didn't edit out the stuff they normally would instead of giving us more.
Yes, that's exactly it. So actually, on that note, this episode, the episode is called Commencement. This episode filled a 90-minute slot on the WB, right? The last 10 minutes of which were a 10-minute preview of Batman Begins that would debut that summer. The episode itself is only 10 minutes longer than normal. What I thought was funny is that I read this aired as a normal episode in Australia, right? Australia wasn't giving the extra half hour to Smallville, and I don't think we would struggle to figure out what 10 minutes got cut,
A lot of Stones talk got cut.
Right? And like repeated Stones talk. I think there's a pretty easy and snip, fully lift the scene out.
Yes.
Boom, you're good for Australian television.
I wasn't watching the show at this point anymore. But I'm pretty confident I would have watched the Batman Begins stuff like online after when it went online
sure I
or
watched
whatever.
That on whatever YouTube equivalent.
Yeah. I mean, I was stoked for Batman Begins. I don't know about you, but I was
so stoked. I read the leaked screenplay.
I remember you telling me that in college, and I just could not accept. I was like, I would never do that because I don't want to ruin the experience.
It was so, I think it was exciting to find it, and it was exciting to know and have something over everybody because I read it. I think I'll also say I was only 65% sure it was real. It was. And then I had mostly forgotten it by the time it had come out. It was a pretty significantly distanced leak, but at the time, like the last Batman movie before this was Batman and Robin.
Right.
So like there was an element of like, well, I got to give this a look. Did they fuck this up?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
An interesting choice. One I do actually enjoy whenever possible. I do like to read the screenplay first when I have access to it.
I will. It depends on the movie, because some movies it's like I want the cinematic experience. Like obviously, you wouldn't be reading the Mission Impossible script.
No, of course not. Right.
Before the new one came out, right? You're like, fuck that. I want to see it.
Right. Correct.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Not always, not all the time. Just sometimes we have them, and like I'm looking for subway reading, and you're right. It's stuff that I'm not like the most excited about. Funnily, what's funny is when I enjoy a screenplay. Marriage Story, I think, is the most recent example of this. I read Marriage Story on the subway, really, really liked the script, saw the movie, didn't love it.
Really interesting.
Yeah, that can happen. It can happen.
I mean, it makes total sense. It's like a book, reading a book and having it adapted or whatever, and it's not.
Pretty much. It's not that far off, right?
Right.
Let's see. Before we get into the episode recap, also you notice I was going back and forth on whether I was even going to acknowledge it. We're getting right into Smallville. We're trying some stuff out. We have some stuff planned. We're skipping maybe the first 40 minutes of what this show usually has. We're gonna see how it goes when our Smallville podcast mostly focuses on Smallville.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't worry, we will go on tangents. Like we just did.
Yeah, right.
About Batman Begins.
Tangents are inevitable.
Yeah.
But if you do enjoy us talking about movies for significant periods of time, keep an eye out. We're baking something.
It might be delicious. It might be burnt and terrible.
Yeah. Or it could be a Quickster Netflix situation. Remember Quickster?
No, what was Quickster?
Quickster? Oh, good. Tangent time. So, as Netflix is streaming, Netflix, if you remember, started as a DVD by mail service. The streaming element came later. That was a weird bonus that came with the subscription, not the whole thing.
I know that.
And then later, when streaming took off, Netflix announced they were splitting off the DVD by mail, and that was going to be called Quickster. So I don't know if you had to subscribe to both or if it was still lumped in, but the DVDs by mail would be handled by Quickster, and the streaming service was Netflix. And everyone went, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So they just abandoned it. They just didn't do it. They went, sorry, oops, we won't do that, I guess.
It's nice when the public reaction is so negative that they just go, okay, fuck it, never mind, sorry.
It's like, if I remember correctly, right, it wasn't even like, that's a bad idea. It's like, what? What the fuck do you mean? Why would you make this? Why are you determined to make this not confusing thing confusing?
You know what? It's good. I've found is when you complicate things needlessly.
Love it.
Much like the Stones storyline. To segue back in.
Oh, dude, brilliant. Mwah, chef's kiss. This is the most expensive episode of Smallville since the pilot. I forget. I had a number. We're in the millions of dollars on this episode. And my dude, it is all in like the last 10 minutes of this fucking episode. That's where all the money went.
I mean, I think it was mostly like there's a big sequence where there's a lineup of cars trying to get out of town. Like, I think it was that. Like, it was just all the cars, all the people, and then the effect shots.
And it's like, I guess that's the other thing. Maybe this was more impressive at the time on your small scale television. Some big asteroid town destruction action on the WB. That said, I don't know. Superman and Lois has a sequence like this every fucking week, you know?
Yeah, well,
like, back
then.
So I think maybe that also added like some of my disappointment to it. I think you had said like, well, all the money was in the last couple minutes of the episode. I'm like, oh, really? Was that something special? I kind of zoned out because it was just sort of fucking town destruction.
What's funny? All the money I know they spent a lot of money on it, but they also reused effect shots from other episodes for the meteor stuff.
Yes. Oh, man. Also, this episode has a weird 24 gimmick. This episode's a fucking nightmare.
No, it's not.
It's a nightmare, dude.
Just for the record, this episode ranks highly on most internet rankings of best Smallville episodes.
Fucking insane. That's insane.
I would agree with you that that's insane. I would agree with you. I don't think it's a bad episode, but I would agree with you.
I would say I would put this so far in my least favorite finale. I'd put that pretty definitively, and I'd put this in a low mid of the season.
3's finale wasn't great either.
I remember being pretty underwhelmed by that, yes.
Yeah. That was with Tyra from Friday Night Lights came and Clark went into the cave wall.
Right. I forgot about that. There's no music in this episode, dude. There's no fucking like I wish I could kiss the girl Lifehouse song. The fuck? I know we really blew our wad on that in a really great prom episode.
We already shot our wad on the prom stuff.
I want that shit in the finale. That's where that goes.
The prom is in the finale.
Come on, Smallville. You know better than this. It's funny how, and we can save this for a broader season conversation, but this episode clearly, remember all the way back in the beginning of the season, how we were talking about there must have been some sort of like network note of like more sexy teens, more standalone stories, because they go in that much harder to the benefit of the show. I think we agree. And yet there's still like complicated, stupid Stones plot. Don't worry. It's all culminating to a stupid plot.
I think they must have been betting on the fact that like people are going to shoot their wad when they realize it's all been leading to the Fortress of Solitude.
Do you think it was always leading to the Fortress of Solitude?
It has to have been.
Deep down in your heart of hearts,
I do.
Do you believe that?
It has to have been.
I'm not saying it wasn't, but like, I don't know.
But I'm sure people who knew were stoked when he throws the crystal at the end of the episode.
Sure, yes, definitely.
Fortress of Solitude!
I'm sure I was when I saw it, the first time.
Yeah. But now, as adults, it's like, oh, we went through all that.
Just for the ice fortress? Come on.
This episode begins with a previously on, like most finales, and it recaps the whole season. That's all we needed for the Stone storyline. There's no information not in that 2-minute recap that we needed.
What does the witch want with it? What does Isabel want with it? The fuck does that even mean? Why was Lana possessed by an 18th century witch all season? What was she? What the fuck?
They were trying something, Brian.
It's funny. I forget where I read this, but Millar and the creators, whatever their names are, Goff and Millar, have talked about, and several writers have mentioned, like, oh man, everyone hated the witch stuff, everyone hated the stone stuff. Oops. It's nothing. None of that is bad in theory. Like on paper, nothing about this bothers me. I'm not mad about the 18th century witch thing.
No,
it's that it was sloppy and weird and bad.
Right, yeah. I feel like people do that a lot with things. They misdiagnose what the problem with a movie or a TV show was.
Yes.
Like with Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I like a lot more than most people. People are like, the aliens, that doesn't work. And I'm like, aliens could work in an Indiana Jones thing.
Right.
It didn't work there because they did it. They had too much CGI, and it didn't really fit with what they were. They kind of half did it. Like It didn't work for other reasons. But as a concept, witch and Superman, that's fine. There's magic in Superman. We can make it work. And to be fair, the witch stuff worked way better than the stone stuff. If you separate it out.
That witch episode's really fun earlier in the season. It's dumb as a bag of rocks, but we had a great time with it.
Yes.
That reminds me of I was listening to I think it was on some show on Shudder. Rob Zombie was talking about not, I would say, either of our favorite filmmaker. But he was talking
2 of his movies, and both begin with Halloween in the title.
But he was talking about how he loves test screenings. He thinks test screenings are very vital to his process. The cards people fill out are useless.
Yes, that's
the test screening is massively important to be like, okay, people seem bored here. You know?
Right. Yeah.
The cards, pointless. Throw them away.
When you go see a movie, you can get a vibe whether people in the audience liked it or not.
Right, exactly.
And you can get a vibe about what parts are playing or not. It's especially if it's a packed house.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great quote. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Let's see. I got one other thing before we get into the full recap here, where I'm sure we'll catch everything else. So this is the final appearance of Jensen Ackles as Jason Teague. I read somewhere this past week he apparently signed on to do 2 seasons, which basically confirms what we thought, right? Which you had to have thought, that he wasn't just made a main cast member for one weird bad storyline.
Right, but it doesn't confirm what happened.
What happened?
Because the supernatural thing. Go ahead.
So I don't know about the timing. We found some weird timing in the Wikipedia of he shot the supernatural pilot here, though the timeline there doesn't make sense. That could be a wiki thing. Of a poorly sourced, but he has said on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast that he got Supernatural. They let him go. They let him no harm, no foul. They let him out of his contract. But man, what did they intend to happen?
I was going to say, do you think that's them being nice to him and just saying, you know what, you get to be a star of the show, great? Or do you think that's them like, thank God we had nothing left for you to do?
That's I hope we find out on Talkville or something and he has also said, I was really spinning my wheels there towards the end, which you were, pal.
Yeah.
Not his fault.
Not at all. No, he brought it. He always brought it in every scene. He's a good, great actor for this kind of show.
Yes, that's.
I didn't mean that to sound so backhanded. He is but honestly one of the better actors, just talent wise in the show.
Yeah, definitely.
When he first came on, we've talked about it. He was firing on all cylinders. Fun character, fun new character. I'm all about it.
Right.
And then they just were like, "Oh, we don't know. We have nothing for him to do."
Right. So would they have had more time to do kind of what they maybe had intended to use him for, or would we have been stuck with this for another fucking year?
I feel like they were gonna. I mean, I guess if he was signed off, they had to have thought they were going to be able to come up with more for him to do.
This certainly was not the intention. I think you told me, you texted me, they did him dirty.
Oh, they really did. They really did. It's clear that they were like, okay, we need to write this guy out, and because his character just changes on a dime, just totally changes. And this happens in shows. We've seen it. We've seen it before.
Right.
It happens. You got to write someone out. But I do wonder what the original intent was. Was it just to create a new Whitney type?
Yeah.
Because the problem
was start as new love interest for Lana. Did it
that's what it was.
The seed of it, right?
That's kind of the problem, because he gets bogged down in the Lana doldrums. He's
just completely away from the Superman show.
Yeah, because they started to he's his coach. Maybe we'll have something there. But then nothing ever happens, and he just is having scenes with Lana pretty much the entire time.
So if the point of giving Lana a new love interest is to have Clark go, oh no, she's with a different guy and he's kind of nice. And instead the show Clark just goes, yes, yeah, hey, that's fine.
I mean, they
which is the
flirted
best
with it.
tension.
At first, they flirted with it a little bit, like for a few episodes. And then they just got bogged down in stones. Stones.
I had a better time with kidney stones than I did with some of these fucking storylines.
That's not true. I was there. Well, when you got the medicine, you did. Once you got the medicine, you were happy.
Had a great, I didn't drink or do drugs at the time, so
what were you on?
Was fun.
Morphine. I remember because it wasn't like
baby.
Percocet or Vicodin. It was straight morphine.
And I was like, this is the fucking best.
I'm surprised you're not a heroin addict after that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, it was one of those true moments of like that shit hit my system, and it was like, I get this.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I feel that way anytime I wake up after like going under. Yeah. Oh man. Just like, ooh. Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. Should we get into the recap?
Let's do it.
This week we watched Commencement. It's the 22nd and final episode of the 4th season of Smallville and the 88th episode overall. It aired on May 18th, 2005. I know all this, of course, because I am reading directly from the smallville.fandom.com. Okay. Getting into it. Lana returns to her apartment to find Genevieve Teague demanding Lana to give her the Crystal of Air. They fight until Countess Isabel transfers back into Lana's body. I will say, I haven't watched this episode in a week. It's coming back to me, though. It's coming back to me. So Countess Isabel transfers back into Lana's body. She stabs and kills Genevieve with the stone. She uses the stone to stab Genevieve Teague.
The jagged stone. I mean,
I guess so. I guess.
Reasonable.
I guess right in the heart. Okay. The mark of transference disappears from Lana's back because Isabel has finally gotten her revenge. Until I read that in the wiki, I had no idea what the fuck. It's just, in this show, as far as I could tell, the way this worked was Lana becomes Isabel, stabs Genevieve Teague, and the show goes, all right, never mind on Isabel.
I wrote down, well, they killed that plot line.
That's exactly what they did.
That's literally, they were like, bye. What I got excited because I thought, yes, in just one moment, they killed Isabel and they killed
Dr.
Jensen's
Quinn,
mom.
medicine woman.
And that is in turn killing the Stones plot line. Boy, was I wrong. The Stones plot line has a lot more to say in the next hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, don't worry. We have an extended episode.
I also wrote down Dr. Quinn gonna need some medicine.
Boo! Boo!
No,
you at home, boo this man. God, I can't. What the fuck did she want with the fucking stone? Isabel.
What? Isabel? Oh yeah, she was gonna. Yeah, that's a good question. She was gonna unite them and use their power, but I guess she really just cared about getting revenge.
I guess. So Clark has a dream.
That's funny because her season-long thing was that she was trying to get the stones too. I remember when they were in
they
East
went
Asia,
to China?
and they were looking for fucking stones. And suddenly she's like, you know what? Fine. I don't care about the stones. I just want to kill her, and then I'll disappear.
And you know what? Fair enough. True to her word. Clark has a dream in which red, yellow, and blue lights come together to form a meteor. He is awakened by his parents, who say that Clark was yelling, "It's coming," in his sleep. Cool that they didn't show that, and we just find out about it in dialogue after. You were yelling, "It's coming, it's coming." No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Meanwhile, in outer space, meteors start flying towards Earth. And this is... Go ahead.
You go.
This is the last time we see this intro. The theme song. The song stays the same, but the graphics will change dramatically.
Oh, really?
This, according to the wiki. Next season, we're going to get the spinny red ones. I love that one. I was so excited when that happened.
I vaguely remember that. So I just wanted to write down that I wrote down just a dream. I think that means that Johnny K, when Clark tells him of his concern, his dream, Johnny K is like, it's just a dream. Like, don't worry about it.
Right.
Johnny K.
Johnny K. Season 4, buddy.
The end of
Season 4.
Have you recognized, Johnny K, that really big events tend to happen at this time of year every year? Notice the pattern.
Johnny K's sitting there like, no way are we going to have a big life-altering event again at the end of the school year. Perfectly timed. There's no fucking way. Like, that's not possible.
No, and definitely my son from another planet is not going to have a dream that turns out to be real.
That would be fucking... Clark, it's a dream. It's a very common occurrence. Any other thoughts about this scene? We ready to move on?
I wrote down Nietzsche. There's a handful of Nietzsche lines in this episode. I think that's for the next scene with Lois and Clark, because there's like a bunch of like, maybe we'll be reporters together one day and you'll be Superman, basically.
Right. All right. Lex walks in immediately after Isabel kills Genevieve and convinces Lana that it was self-defense and she had no choice. He offers her one of the best defense attorneys in the nation. God, I wish it was an expert from Metropolis. Or a specialist from Metropolis. Sorry. Yeah. He tells her to stay in the Luthor mansion and talk to no one until the lawyer arrives. Lionel goes to her apartment and takes the body. He threatens Lex that if he does not get the stone from Lana by noon, Genevieve's body and evidence against Lana will be given to the sheriff. Hey, I have a question. I know you have I would like to present my question first, if that is okay. Hey, Lionel, why the fuck did you give the stone to Lana last episode? And then be like, I gotta get the stone from Lana. What the fuck, man? Okay.
Before we dig into that, I just want to get these other brief notes out, because that's going to be a conversation. I love that Lex comes into the apartment and Lionel is just sitting there in the dark in Lana's apartment. Just think of this logically. So he shows up. He's like, he just killed this woman. He calls his people, whoever those are. I don't know that he has people anymore, but he calls them. He's like, hey, I need you to do something with this body, clean this place up. They do. They get the body out of there, and they're like, are you coming? Or he's like, no, I'm going to sit here in the dark for a little bit.
I have to go sit.
Why? Because someone I need to intimidate might show up.
A high schooler.
Well, it turns out to be Lex. But,
right.
So he sits in the dark, and then Lex, and his exact threat to Lex is not that he would send it to the sheriff. He says that he would send her body to the sheriff with Lana's DNA as postage.
This is John Glover's 50th episode as Lionel, and he's perfect.
Great. Happy anniversary, John.
Happy anniversary, pal.
Okay. You and I both flagged down this inconsistency because last episode, if listeners will remember, Lionel and Lex were kidnapped and brought into the forest by Jason's mom. And they were like, give us the stone. We know you have it because she had given Lionel the stone because he poisoned her, right?
Right.
And Lionel says, I gave it to Lana because she's the chosen one. We then cut to Lana outside of the school looking at the stone in her car.
Right.
So you and I, and probably everyone else in the world, assumed Lionel was telling the truth. That's the stone he gave her.
Oh, interesting.
So I think the explanation is, and I just thought of this. Thought of this today, I think. I think what the explanation is, and they make no attempt to explain this, is that Lionel was lying. He still had the stone. Because later in the episode, he does have a stone in his jacket.
Interesting.
And
that's
and
the only
Lana
thing that makes
that
sense.
stone. Yes. But
That's
they don't
the only
make
thing.
any effort to explain that to the audience whatsoever.
No.
They lead us to believe last episode he gave it to Lana, and in this episode he's like, I want that stone from Lana. So you and I, viewers who are paying attention, are like, what the fuck is going on?
Do you know? Do you know?
I mean, it's
Weird.
malpractice of them not to explain that a little bit. And I know. I mean, even though you and I are both like, we don't fucking care about the Stones plot line, you still can't pull that shit on us.
I want to believe you give a shit. I want to believe this terrible storyline you wasted my fucking time with. Someone in that writer's room was like, no, it all makes sense. Rather than just a collective, oh, fucking no.
Just like, don't worry, no one's going to care. Let's just get it over with.
I do support just getting it over with. I'll say that. Okay, Clark and Chloe notice that Lana is not at school to pick up her cap and gown. They start to worry when she misses the ceremony completely. Right after Clark receives his diploma, military vehicles pull up, interrupting the ceremony and announcing a meteor shower will hit Smallville in 3 hours. Clark urges Chloe and Lois to escape Smallville. We haven't talked in detail about the weird every act break is full 24 style. We're getting a countdown clock to this meteor shower.
Yeah, it's exciting, Brian. Ticking clock.
Is it? 24 was big, man.
I do think also they're like, we need to inject some excitement here. They're like, boom, 24 countdown clock.
24 was huge, dude. Like, sometimes I forget how big 24 was.
Also, they start that countdown clock and you see the asteroids like entering the atmosphere like 40 minutes before they hit.
It's later in the wiki they will explain that should take like seconds.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, good. We're on the same page, wiki.
But they're Kryptonian. Are they? Are they Kryptonian? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they are. We kind of skipped over it, but there's a scene in the mansion with Lex and Lana, shortly after he's gotten her from her apartment, and she's washing the blood off of her hands.
Right.
But because they only have the one set for Luther Mansion, she's not in the bathroom at a sink. She's in like his office, and he has like a tin bowl of water brought out so that she can wash the blood in. I'm like,
bring the blood hand bowl. Bring the bloody hands bowl. For Lana,
it's a mansion.
My high school girlfriend.
Surely we can get her a shower and a change of clothes.
I didn't even think of that.
Yes, please fetch the blood bowl for my high school crush.
This episode costs millions of dollars. It's the most expensive episode of Smallville since the pilot, and they couldn't make a Luther Mansion bathroom set. Oh my God.
Also, did you notice that the Smallville graduation, real small crowd, and a very small graduating class?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the class did die in the past 4 years.
I mean, this is the beginning of Principal Kwan's reign. You know, it was this is the class.
Do you think it's a combination of kids dying from murder and also parents just transferring their kids the fuck out of this high school, this death trap?
Like, this is this murder school.
Yeah, this school has a higher death rate than Newark.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, graduating. There is a list of the entire graduating class, Zach, here on the wiki, and it is small. It's fucking Hogwarts, man.
Wait, how do they have a list of the whole class?
Let me see here. Hang on, I'm scrolling down. Sorry, still scrolling. I'll find it. Am I wrong? Maybe they didn't have anything. Oh, okay. We have graduates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. And so we've 16 at least listed, named in some capacity.
Okay.
And then we have subsequently established later in the show to be a part of the graduating class of 2005. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 additional who will be retconned here today.
Great. And then we have 45 dead children.
I have no concept of how big my class was.
Some of them, to be fair, died by their own hand because they were psychopaths. I would say half of them were psychopaths.
Yes. I mean, either or.
You have no concept. It was in the hundreds, probably, Brian. Mine was in the hundreds.
Probably. Yeah. Maybe. Probably.
I do want to say we kind of skipped it over, but Lois and Clark have a fun scene, which is kind of like a goodbye. You know, this was a fun season. That's where she drops like 4 Nietzsche lines, like, "Oh, I don't think I would want to be a reporter," or something. You know,
right?
All that shit.
This is the last time Erica Durance will be credited as a special guest star. She'll get the big promo next season.
I mean, she brought it. Anytime she was here this season, she brought it. They didn't give her as much to do in the second half, but any Clark Lois scene, I'm just eating up. And
yeah, definitely. I think Erica Durance is a nominee for MVP.
I think she is. I think she probably loses due to lack of screen time. But
exactly, just not enough time on the field.
Yeah.
But okay. Lex offers Clark and his parents safe passage out on the Luthor Corp jet, but Clark rejects the offer. He goes to see Jor-El to ask him what he has done. Jor-El says that Clark has caused this himself because he did not collect the Stones of Power. What? And today he will witness the consequences for denying his heritage. What? What is... Oh, so if you don't make the Fortress of Solitude happen, the meteors will come, and also the meteors are Zod. Spoiler alert. What the fuck, Zach?
I want to know, is this a rule Jor-El made, or was this somehow out of his hands?
What? So the Stones were here anyway, right? The Stones had come here anyway. They were already here on Earth for reasons, and Jor-El had been to Earth. Which we established previously. So, would the Stones of Power have to be collected even if Krypton hadn't fucking exploded? Would somebody be like, "Oh fuck, did anyone get those stones?" Uh-oh.
And also, where is this meteor shower from? Because Krypton's been gone for a while.
Right. So there's just these meteors floating around space ready for, like, you better find those fucking stones of power. We're going to pummel your fucking planet. What would have happened if they... What? What?
Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Do you think Jor-El's just fucking with him? He's like, he's a computer. He can tell there's asteroids coming. He's like, I'm going to totally blame this on him. You really fucking dragged your feet on those stones.
Just a disappointed parent, like, this wouldn't have happened if you...
Yeah, if you got those stones quicker.
If you had cleaned your room, 9/11 wouldn't have happened.
You have the most superpowers anyone's ever had, and you couldn't find 3 fucking stones.
You couldn't find 3 fucking rocks. 3 rocks, one of which happened to be in China? Oh, this episode gives me a headache. He tells him there's nothing he can do to prevent it from happening. Human blood has been spilled on one of the stones, causing a second meteor shower and a dark force from Krypton to come to Earth. It gets worse. It gets worse. What? So these stones, the first meteor shower was just the planet exploded.
Yeah. So what? So I'm wondering if there's more kryptonite that comes during this shower, which I believe there is. What?
What?
Because kryptonite is just pieces. It's radioactive.
Right. Oh.
So Zod's ship, which is he's in the Phantom Zone in the ship, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Is in this meteor shower. We don't find that out in this episode, but.
We see the ship come down at the end, am I right?
Yeah. So the ship maybe was part of Krypton exploding, and it's just been floating out there. Maybe the ship is flying, and the meteors are caught in its gravitational pull, and then somehow Jor-El controls that ship, so he's bringing the ship.
So he's doing this?
He's like, sorry, son, you fucked up. I'm going to send my mortal enemy there now. You blew it.
I got questions for Talkville. And it's just, I'm just going to, on their voicemail, just play this entire episode.
Just be like, can you ask Miller and Go this? And then just play.
We'll take our answer off the air.
Yeah.
Oh, God, Smallville. Okay. So Clark does not unite the stones at once. The Earth will be destroyed, and not even Clark will survive. The fate of the world is in his hands. Just because I may not think of it again, if you are not familiar with Zod, go back and listen to our Superman 2 episode. It's a little back in our archives. Then you'll be all prepped and ready for Zod next season.
Question.
Yes, Zach.
So the implication here is that the meteors are coming.
Mm-hmm.
If Clark doesn't unite the stones before they get there, everyone will die on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is he talking about? Because Clark unites the stones and the meteors still come. The Earth doesn't die.
No, it's a very modestly sized town in Kansas.
Yes. Yeah. Is he saying Zod will be released if he doesn't unite the stones? And because he does, then Zod is still stuck in his ship?
That makes the most
That's the most generous interpretation I can give.
It's fucking gobbledygook, but that's the closest to an answer. Oh, God.
I gotta be honest, though. I don't think I cared the first time I watched it because I was only interested in the teen drama of it all. I didn't care about this stuff. But it is a disaster.
I think I am remembering now seeing this for the first time and going, woof. You know? But certainly wasn't thinking about how fucking rough it is. Okay, Clark returns to the Kent farm where his parents are loading the car. He reluctantly tells them that he cannot go with them and he must unite the stone. He must unite the stones. That's gonna. You want to start a Von Ray cover band called Unite the Stones?
Von Ray.
They are fearful because the last meteor shower was full of kryptonite and Clark could be killed. Sounding not very confident, Clark insists that he is the only one who can prevent Earth's destruction. Finally, Jonathan states that all of Clark's trials have prepared him for this moment and tells Clark to go and to make them proud. All right. Whatever you say. Don't worry. Johnny K and Mama K will have nothing to do in the rest of this episode. So
they're gonna get something to do, Brian.
They'll be on screen. That doesn't mean they'll have something to do.
Whatever. Johnny K was what's the guy who plays Johnny K? Why can't I think of him? John Schneider. He was like, yes, I get a big fight scene at the end. Like, he was just stoked.
Yes. Clark finds Lana waiting for him in the barn. She gives him the crystal of air because she thinks that it is meant for him. They say they love each other and kiss in case they never see each other again. Lana returns to the Luthor mansion and leaves Chloe a short voicemail before Lex takes her phone and says she agreed to not contact anyone. How did Lana leave the manor? To go to the
short
barn?
Jaunt. Yeah, she just bicycle. She just took a bicycle.
But no one in the. So Lex is just like, hey, the girl who's in the only room in this house. She just like stroll out and just like, gotta go. Goodbye.
Yeah, and then pop back in without him noticing.
What the fuck? So
Lex is real creepy real quick with like his big brother, not like brotherly, like big brother, like I'm watching you, you can't do this. He gets real creepy with Lana real quick in this episode. And
it's not quite fun, the dark depths of Lex Luthor.
No. It's like bad boyfriend stuff.
Yeah. Not the fun Lex stuff. It's a little like, I feel weird about this.
Yeah.
Okay, Clark finds Lana waiting. Oh, nope, I read that already. When Lex asks Lana about the stone, she simply says that it is safe. Yeah, but safe where, Lana? Safe where? All right. Having apparently survived his fall into the river, somehow Jason Teague has returned.
In a TV show, when someone gets shot in the arm and falls into a river, there is a 100% chance they're still alive.
That is true. That is true. Somehow, in my dumb idiot brain, I was like, well, I guess that's the end of Jason Teague.
No, you weren't.
Zach, I swear on my child. I was like, wow, really? That's how they do him, huh? And then he shows up, and I'm like, that's probably how they should have done him.
I mean, he doesn't even get one more...
I don't know if Jensen Ackles has benefited from appearing in this episode.
At the very least, you should have Lana kill him off, you know what I mean? Or something.
Yeah, right?
Like,
yeah,
he doesn't even get a scene with Lana.
I didn't even fucking think of that. This is lunatic. EW, Entertainment Weekly, ranks this as one of the best episodes of Smallville.
Yes. I think it was top 10.
You know what's not on that list? The prom episode.
Yeah, it's not
the episode after it.
Yeah, the prom episode is top 10 in my heart.
Yes, the spectacle of the end really must sit really well in people's memories.
Yeah, it has to be that.
All right, having apparently survived his fall into the river, Jason Teague stops Clark's parents as they are leaving the farm. Bloody and pointing a shotgun at them, he demands they tell him where Clark is.
He says, "I've had a very bad day," or something like that. But I'm like, didn't you get shot yesterday?
Yeah, right.
Surely this isn't the same day.
Lois and Chloe are stuck in traffic, so they hatch a plan in which Lois distracts the guard at the roadblock long enough to let Chloe sneak by him to get to the Luthor mansion and look for Lana. I don't know if I think I liked this scene enough.
Yeah, this is like
Lois
fun
comes out and pulls
stuff.
her like general dad, spooks a soldier enough for Chloe to get by. It's fun. I mean, had it not been Erica Durance, this may not have worked. But
so I think we're skipping over. I don't think maybe the wiki is doing it out of order, but there's a scene where Lex goes to visit Clark in the barn before the evacuation.
I don't seem to have that.
Yeah, and he basically shows up and is like, he gives Clark one more chance to come clean because he's like, "Hey, we discovered another chamber inside the caves. Anything in your research point to that?" And Clark is like, "Whoa, I don't know." And Lex in his face is like, "Fuck you. Okay, fuck you."
It's still, I think, and it's from the Hong Kong episode. But what do you want me to say, Lex?
Yeah. What do you want me to say? Like, that's it.
Peak Clark Lex moment. That may never be topped. All right, Lex returns to the mansion with Lionel waiting for him. They argue over the whereabouts of the crystal of water. When Clark sets the second stone in the altar, he hears a piercing sound, which alerts him to the location of the final stone, in Lionel's pocket. The stone emits a ray of energy, and Lionel is shocked into catatonia. It's the word, the Wiki's getting fancy on us over here.
That sounds like a brand of clothing or something.
Into catatonia. And Lex is knocked back against the wall. Concussion? Not a confirmed concussion. He could have hit back. I guess it's not confirmed. We don't see head hit rock.
Yeah. But this is the scene where Lionel's like, "I don't know where the stones are," and then he gets shocked and the stone falls out.
Good shit. Unconcerned, Lex simply leaves his manservant to deal with Lionel after saying he has become the son Lionel has always wanted and puts the stone in his vault. This scene should have been better, I think. I think in a better episode, this would be a good scene. I was not buying it personally, but I might have just been sour. I might have been a little sourpuss because I wasn't enjoying the episode. I
mean, it's definitely it's such a spiteful moment from Lex. Like, he's just like, because he assumes he's dying. He's like, because I think he says, this is the last thing you'll hear or whatever. And he says,
"Right.
You got the son you wanted, you piece of shit," basically.
Don't count out John Glover, Lex.
No. He's got 3 seasons left in him.
All right. Clark super speeds to the mansion and flings open the vault, but it is full of kryptonite artifacts. He grabs the stone right before he collapses.
Okay. So there's so much kryptonite in Lex's vault. So much.
You had to know.
Also, so much of it it lights up when Clark gets closer. Like, it turns on.
Right.
Like, it's not green, and then when he gets closer, it turns green.
Yes. Notice that as well.
What is this? What is this, Brian? This is a security system from Krypton?
It's that motherfucker.
It's the one who didn't unite the stones.
Yeah. This bitch didn't fucking put the rocks together. Glow at him.
And then once again, Lex's home is a fortress of security. Not one camera set up to capture Clark tear the vault off the wall.
didn't even think of that.
Is that like Lex doesn't want to record himself doing shady dealings?
That's that's generous, but I don't hate it.
You'd think by now he would have a fucking camera in there.
Yeah, right. So this comes a little later. But there'll be a moment where Clark approaches the vault, right? And it's specifically the like dragon head from the episode where they went to China, and the eyes glow the green, and Clark does the "Oh no, kryptonite" fall. And later he'll be pulled from this, and all the glowing will stop. And Clark will be like, I feel great now. So everything about like the iron box and like keeping Clark, the kryptonite away, it just has to be like, let's get a measuring stick here. How close Clark has to be to the kryptonite. It's not that bad. I think I have a very bad peanut allergy. I think I'm more affected by a peanut butter sandwich at the other end of the room than Clark apparently is by radioactive pieces of his home world 6 feet away. It's fucking
but they're
COVID
not turned
rules.
On. Only if they're turned on. Is the peanut butter turned on, Brian?
I guess that's it.
Do you think peanut butter's turned off until it senses you around and then it's like, fuck this guy?
Only if I were from the planet of peanut butter that exploded when I was a child. I'm fine. I'm just regular allergic.
Peanut ton.
Okay. As Lana boards the helicopter, Lex insists again that she give him the stone. She finally says that she doesn't have it, angering him. Lana realizes that he is not interested in her safety and angrily boards the helicopter. Lex returns to the mansion. Yeah, that is not quite accurate.
We're skipping over some stuff, Wiki. She says she doesn't have it, and he snatches her purse from her, and he's like, "Where is it?" and starts looking through it. And then she's like, "You only care about the stones. You never cared about me." And then Lex puts both of his hands on her face like this, and says to her, "You mean more to me than you realize. Get your hands off my face, bro." That is not a way you hold someone, even if you're in a relationship with them. You don't just grab their face, right?
Let alone if you're about to put them on your helicopter away from the meteor shower that's about to hit the small town you live in.
It's just, it's a weird move. And also
you just don't care about the stone now.
And also, you have already admitted in the episode with your evil twin that you do have feelings for her. So right. You mean more than me than you know is not true because you already said as much.
Oh, this episode, dude.
Get your hands off her, Lex. I don't like
just full grab in her face. Remember the movie Billy Madison? Where,
yes, it's that exactly. It's that, yeah. Don't you ever say that. Stay here as long as you can.
Oh man. I watched The Wedding Singer recently on Tubi. It doesn't hold up as well as I remember, at least for me personally. Really? I was only half.
I haven't seen it in a while.
It's not as good. It's not as much of. It's more of an Adam Sandler movie than I remember. Like, right. I remember it's like, this is a real legitimate romantic comedy. Like, actually, no, it's kind of cheap and dumb. But scary fact, but completely true. We are way farther from The Wedding Singer than The Wedding Singer was from the 80s.
Oh, yeah. That was the 90s. I mean, it wasn't that far away.
No, that was just The Wedding Singer's whole, like, it was the 80s. Was like, man, didn't we dress crazy a couple of years ago?
So we've been into the 90s nostalgia for a little while now with our entertainment. Do you think we're just going to skip over the aughts because no one wants to look back at that fucking time period?
When Emily and I are stoned, we will do some like 2000s nostalgia. I love to watch 2000s commercials and movies and stuff, just stuff of that decade. And usually it's a very stoned me and a very stoned Emily, arms crossed on the couch going, oh no.
Yeah, there's not going to be any Stranger Things for the early aughts. You know what I mean?
Though some of the terrible 2000s fashions have come back on the teens. Some of the teens are into that stuff again. It all comes around.
I don't think anyone wants to remember that time period.
I mean, we're watching a show from it now. We have a podcast about a show from that time, Zach.
We've been doing it for 2 years. I don't see anyone romanticizing that time period.
Sure.
Like they do the 80s and 90s. This was like...
Right.
It was a great decade for less than a year.
Yeah, right.
And then it was shitty.
It is like... It is weird how easy it is to pinpoint like where it went wrong.
Yeah, right here. We have a graph.
Yeah. And then everything kind of got bad.
Yeah. Oh, man.
All right. So Chloe finds Clark unconscious and drags him away. Lex walks in and finds Chloe, but Clark speeds out before Lex can see him. This was dumb. It's Clark is just like whoosh bang. Whoosh bang. And it was like, what? Lex demands Chloe to tell him why she is there, and she insists that she does not know what happened. He drags her to the cave, demanding answers. How far is the cave from Luther Mansion? Why is everyone quickly jaunting around?
Also, if you'll remember 1 year ago in the season finale, Lex was protecting Chloe from Lionel.
Correct.
And now,
wow.
How far has he fallen? He's like,
wow.
Show me where the stones are, little girl.
Wow. Jason ties Jonathan and Martha up, and they try to fight back. But after the scuffle, he manages to regain control.
Remember when he was Clark's football coach?
Yeah. I miss those times.
And now he's a shotgun-wielding psychopath holding the Kents hostage. The Kents. For no other reason than we don't have anything for the Kents to do this episode.
Truly. It's wow. We don't have anything for Jason.
Why is he holding the Kents hostage? Lionel's the one who shot him. Lana's the one who killed his mother.
There's a vague Clark's connected to all of this. Where's Clark, if I'm remembering correctly? But it is sweaty.
Do you think the Kent's house was just closest to the river that he crawled out of? And he's like, you know what? I'm pissed. Fucking these people. You'll do.
You're vaguely connected enough. All right. The meteors hit all over Smallville. Lois is stuck in traffic and cannot get out before the meteors hit. She gets out of Chloe's car and escapes to higher ground. In tears, she watches as Smallville lays in ruins. We might have to go back. I don't know if you kept count of all of the truck gets hit, and there's actually a reasonably good truck on fire stunt.
There's well, first of all, there's 3 confirmed reused shots.
Wow.
One is from the pilot. One is from a dream sequence from one of the Fear episodes where meteors were hitting. And another one I can't remember. I think there were 4 cars. I think I only saw 4 cars get destroyed.
Wow. I would have guessed more.
I mean, I'm sure they did off screen.
Right, of course. Of course.
Like, there's a lineup of 100 cars.
Some of those got meteored.
Where everyone's fleeing. Not one of them gets blown up during that sequence.
Wow.
The asteroids are flying all around. Not one car gets blown up.
I kind of want that Independence Day scene where it's everything's blowing up and they're all running.
Also, when Clark, the famous shot of Clark saving the little kid from the meteor.
Right.
The kid really pulls Alana's parents and just stands there and stares at it for...
I thought about that. It's like, where the fuck is this kid going? It's like...
He was looking for a toy, I think, he left behind or something.
You ever see a kid in like a crisis situation? It's usually, oh my God, screaming and crying. And this kid's like, truck. I'm like, that kid's broken in his brain.
Also, I don't think a 3-year-old would stand there while an asteroid flew right at him like that.
No, and get fucking Shaquille O'Neal'd. Like fucking Lana's parents.
How weird would it be if Lana got killed by a meteor 20 years after her parents got killed by a meteor? That would be a news story.
Close.
That would be a news story for sure.
The Kent house is hit by a meteor with Jason, Jonathan, and Martha inside it. During the showers, Clark Kent saves a boy named Henry at the last second, protecting the boy by using his body as a shield. Lionel...
I just have here written down, because Lana's in the helicopter and it crashes. Yeah. Helicopters are horrifying.
Oh, I hate them. Never been in one. Will never go in one. Absolutely not. No. No problem with planes. Helicopter? No.
Yeah. I went in one when I was in middle school. We went to Hawaii and we took a helicopter tour around the island. I was scared, but I was too young to appreciate how scared I should have been. Because when you're a kid, you're like, my dad paid for this. They're professionals. It's safe. I'm being scared for silly reasons.
Right.
But then as an adult, I'm like, no, you weren't.
No, terrible. Absolutely
no, thank
not.
you.
No. No. It's honestly even weirdly, like, let's say I had to get like medevaced out of like an emergency situation. I'll dangle from the cot from the helicopter. Don't put me in that fucking helicopter. Don't put me in that fucking No. I'm good down here.
I'll dangle from the cot. Oh.
I'll fucking pull the rope if I need something.
Like if you're getting evacuated, you're not even injured. You're like, hey, can I just hang from the cot? I know you have a cot.
Yeah, no, I got that. Then I'm in control of my destiny.
Yeah.
Lionel lies in a catatonic state at the mansion with Kryptonian symbols running in his brain. Lana's helicopter is hit by a meteor and crashes to the ground. Badly injured, she crawls to the edge of the crater containing a giant black spaceship.
So, a couple things. The helicopter pilot... So Lana gets a concussion because the helicopter crashes, and then in the next scene, she wakes up in the helicopter.
Yes.
So she got a concussion. I believe the helicopter pilot got one too because he's dead from a bloody gash in his head.
That makes sense to me.
That's a concussion, right? That's a head trauma that killed him.
Yeah, that's a super concussion.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a concussion that didn't quit.
Yeah.
That's a concussion that saw a skull and went, I ain't afraid of that. Lex and Chloe see a light coming from the hidden chamber within the Kawachi caves. Chloe pushes him against the cave wall from behind and he falls down, but she fails to knock him out. Something about that made me laugh, but I don't remember what it was. I'm just remembering that
does
scene.
It say she fails to knock him out?
That's what it says, and
no,
that's
I have
not how
a Lex
I remember
concussion.
it.
I have a Lex concussion.
I agree. You can get a concussion without being knocked out.
Yeah,
that happens.
Yeah, it's a concussion.
Clark combines all of the stones, and the crystal of knowledge is created. Clark grabs the crystal and is transported to the Arctic, with Chloe unknowingly coming with him. It's gonna be cold up there. He looks around the vast Arctic landscape and in anger and confusion throws the crystal. To be continued.
Okay, so I wrote down, why does he throw it? So the wiki's assuming it's anger and confusion.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's not the vibe I got.
I mean, that's the generous interpretation. There's no other explanation unless he had he's like a vibe, like, maybe I should throw this. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do.
That's what happened in that movie.
Throw this in the snow.
Yeah.
Was that always part of it? Like, I hope he knows to throw this thing, because if he doesn't.
Jor-El's like, all right, I mentioned the fucking stones. Okay, end of the fucking world. What am I fucking forgetting?
He's like, I won't mention it to him. I'll just frustrate him enough to where he'll definitely throw something.
He'll get it. He'll get there. Let's see. We did most of the notes at the top of the episode. That's season 4 in the bag, buddy. Another one down.
Do you want to? Let's hear the final tallies for this season.
Do it.
This season had 5 Lex concussions. That's the second most in a single season. The first season we had 6.
Hubba.
The second season we had 2. That gives us 13 concussions Lex has had.
Wow.
We're only a few shy of the Johnny Knoxville number we're looking for.
We'll get there.
Overall concussions. I think we set a record by 1 for overall concussions.
Ooh.
25.
Wow.
25. Season 2 had 24. The amount of overall concussions is insane. I'd have to tally that up. That will take time.
Nothing that happens here is diegetic or real. These are all hallucinations from people who with severe head trauma.
Car accidents or car destructions, only a sad 9 this season. That's the lowest we've had. Yeah.
Wow. And this didn't even make up for it.
I thought it would.
4. I thought it'd tally up.
Some of those were reused too.
Yeah.
From the other shots.
Yeah, God, you're right. Man, okay. Shame.
Brian, buckle your fucking seatbelt.
All right.
24 instances of memory loss this season.
Ooh, baby.
The previous record, 7 in season 1.
Oh my God. Just annihilated. We've shot into the stratosphere.
We're never going to come close to that. No less than honest this season, but we did set a record for not yourself or not myself with 8.
A lot of possessions and being a different person this episode. Yes. We went to that well a couple of times. Sometimes for good, often for good.
The line is going a straight diagonal up. Season 1, we had 1. Season 2, we had 2. Season 3, we had 7. Now we have 8. We're just not yourself.
Let's keep it up, baby.
Oh, wow. We had 7 instances of damaged farm equipment. That must have been one episode. Just like a bunch of shit happened.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we had 1 specialist this season.
Wow. What a tally.
Oh, man.
So, any final thoughts on this episode? I think we'll deal with our entire season recap next week. I think we'll give out our awards.
Yes. I mean, we'll of course, you won't be able to see it, but we'll of course be dressed in tuxes.
I'm going the whole night. I'm renting a band. It's gonna be big.
Yeah, for sure. I'm
actually
going to
get a carpet splayed out outside my apartment. Full cocktail hour.
We have invites sent out to the whole cast of Smallville, so we'll see.
This is real. We've sent out. We've got.
Allison Mack is unable to attend. She's already RSVP'd. No.
I think this is the year. That Tom and Michael are coming on the show. They're going to accept their awards.
Yeah, they're too far behind us because otherwise we could just call up on their line and be like, "Hey, just so you know, you won this award. Do you want to come and accept it?"
We should do that anyway. Oh, man. All right, this has been the Talon Mix. Thank you so much for listening. As always, hey, if you like the show, maybe give us a rating on your podcatching app of choice. In the description, we have a link to our Patreon. We appreciate anybody who wants to throw a couple bucks to help keep this show going. We made one bonus episode of a bonus podcast, and we intend to do more sometime. But for now, thank you so much to everybody who's donated. Let's see. We also have a Discord link. That's the best place to come say hello. Come chat with us. I think that's everything. Hey, Zach,
let us know if you hate the new format or if you like it more. We would love to hear your feedback.
It was like, hey, I liked it better when you weren't talking about Smallville.
Yeah, on this Smallville recap.
Yeah. Ultimately, I don't think it shaved down the runtime that much.
We will find a way. Life finds a way, Brian. Brian, this was a supersized finale episode, though.
That's true. That's true. Just a peek behind the curtain, there was a universe where we're sitting there going, like, I think we can bang out 2 episodes of Smallville in an evening. Like, I don't know about that, baby.
I don't know, because we would have still said all the same shit, but we would have talked for 45 minutes before this. So it would have been an hour and 45 rather than,
that's true.
An hour. I don't know.
Right. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
I have a statement and then a question followed right after.
Great.
My statement is season 5 is going to slap. Season 5 is going to slap, right?
Good night, everybody.